Hi, this is Don Debelak. You've reached the sixth video in the series Pumping Up Sales called Deciding on a Sales Strategy. But really, this section, besides just a sales strategy, is really deciding on your whole marketing plan, how you're going to get your product to market. Now, this is a pretty long video and it covers a lot of ground, but it's essential that you really plan for what you're going to do if you're going to be successful. Now, if you have questions about your plan and you're a member of our $20 a month membership, please send in emails. We'll answer emails, we'll help you get it going. And if you really get stuck, you can call us for our consulting help, which we give to people who are enrolled in our membership plans for $75 an hour. But we want you to have a good marketing plan. We want you to have the best chance to succeed. So please take advantage of these services if you need. So when we're talking about a marketing plan, first you have to do is decide on a path to market. Now we had talked about this earlier in our second video on before you spend big money, which is really on deciding on a path to market. So for example, path to market is just how you're going to get there. You could sell through reps, sell through distributors, sell direct, sell to catalogs, sell to online retailers. This is all really about taking the product to market yourself and deciding on a distribution channel. Uh, it's best if these channels are ones where you found small companies that use the path to sell their product. You know, I've talked quite a bit in the video series about going to trade show, meeting people, taking the trade magazines, and find out how other companies have succeeded, and find out what path to market they take, and try to mirror their efforts if they've been successful and it seems to work. Another path to market is to consider partnerships. You can have private label agreements where you sell your product to somebody and put their name on the product. You can have exclusive agreements. You can have partnerships with other small companies in the market that have complementary products. Many choices on how you're going to get to the marketplace, and you want to really consider just which ones you want to follow. Then you want to take a look at the paths, rank them by how easy they will be for you to use. Now, remember, you've got to always keep in mind there's a three-prong decision making. You have your finances, you have the manufacturing capabilities, you have of getting products to the market, whether you're making the product yourself or you're using contract manufacturers, and your ability to get the investments you need to really expand into some of these distribution channels. So take a look at all these decisions, and then you have to take a path that really fits into what your resource allocation is. And also you want to take a look at making sure that your path is big enough to support your business. Now, one of the problems you can run into is if you have to have investors, they're not going to be satisfied if you go on a path that makes $50,000 a year because the distribution channels are too low. So you need to really take a look at how much can the channels make for you, how many products can you sell, and how will you get that out so you support your own growth plus the investors' expectations and your partner's expectation, and really generating momentum into the marketplace. So one of the things you need to really do is what are your sales strategy options? You have to make a list of the options you have, take a look at what they are, and then decide which ones you're going to use. Now, this is really from our fourth video, choosing your distribution channel one, and I wanted to bring it back a little bit to talk about some of these points again. So again, path to market and distribution channel are typically the same. It's just how you take your product to the market. Licensing, joint ventures, private label, they're all paths to the market where you use a key account strategy with one or more principals taking the role. In other words, if you are going to try to license or joint venture, companies usually either have the founder capable of doing that, going out and making the marketplace, or the founder gets a partner or a rep group or somebody who's really knowledgeable in the industry to go out, take their product out, and make a deal for them. Don't be afraid to talk to a sales rep group or talk to people you meet at the trade shows, or marketing managers at other small companies who might be willing to do this for you if you feel you're not capable yourself. Again, talking to people at the shows and reading the trade magazine, it's really just to put together all the potential sales strategies that you have for what other companies do. You definitely want to be taking a look and following paths that, or consider paths that other companies have been successful at. You can be taking a look at an internet strategy alone. Now, you always run into a little clash with the internet strategy because the retailers don't like you to have a strong internet presence. And a lot of times, there's marketplaces where the internet strategy works really great, especially if you have a established brand presence where people know to look for you. For instance, the Sweets catalog for years was a great big bound book with about 19 volumes, which listed all the type of products architects might buy. Now that's on the internet, and the Sweets catalog directs people to their sites. So all of a sudden, and it's not that they're sending them to distributor sites. So all of a sudden, manufacturers can get leads off the internet from the Sweets catalog. Now, some of those manufacturers still use distributors, and they still use distributors because the distributors give support for the product. But other times, the manufacturers are just taking the sales back all themselves and really handling it from their home offices. So again, you might take a look at your internet strategy, see what kind of directories are available, what you can go into, how you can find leads, and how you can go to trade shows, and really consider that distribution channel is taking 40% of the eventual end user price. So even if you lose 10 or 20% of the volume by not using distributors, you might be way better off. Then you're going to have to consider your rep strategy. And direct sale just means you have salesmen on your staff who are selling the product. Rep groups are independent groups who sell your product. You can sell through other companies, or you can rely on key distributors. There's many options here. Many options, and you can also look on your packaging, in-store displays, all of these different things that you might do in the store or on the internet to actually increase your sales. Now, when we talk about strategies for selling over the internet that you might want to consider, there's eBay strategies, there's sites like Amazon. Now, Amazon, be very careful when you do that, because really retailers absolutely hate it when you're on Amazon, because Amazon cuts the price so much. And every retailer will tell you, people walk into their store, they see something they like, and they go buy it on Amazon. And so, don't just jump on Amazon right away. Kind of check out with the retailers and your sales reps and make sure you won't be causing yourself too much trouble. I'm not really saying Amazon's got a bad site. There's nothing wrong with Amazon's site. It's nothing wrong with their strategy. It's just fine. It's really only in the pressure you'll get from other people in the distribution channel that you shouldn't be on Amazon, mostly because Amazon charges less than they do. You might want to be on your own website. You might want to be taking a look at the catalog type websites, especially if you have a product for a professional group or a product for a group that's easily identified, has a strong, cohesive background. So you might, for instance, my brother is an electrician, a union electrician member, and he always goes to Beeline, which is a internet catalog site with all the types of products that an electrician might want. Well, if you go into different industries and you find there's a lot of those sites, you should be using them. You can do a Facebook. You can have fan group deals, and if you're not a younger person, considering hiring one of these social media companies with young people who really knew how to work the Twitter and Facebook accounts and set up likes and dislikes and YouTube videos, and really get you out there in a big way through social media. You have rewards-based crowdfunding. The Pebble Watch, which is a competitor sort of to Apple's Watch, they went on crowdfunding on Kickstarter and just said, I don't really remember the exact amount, but something like $100, and then when we get the product, we'll send it to you. And they raised, I believe, $20 million doing this. So there's just no limit to what you can do on rewards-based crowdfunding to actually sell over the internet and actually get your product started. You can also just work to create your own special interest community. Usually you don't have to do this because if there is a special interest group, there are people out there who start many communities and they're really trying to get their people to come and there's just no end to the sites that you could be looking. So you should be looking at your internet sites, but keep in mind that the internet sites, unless you really have a dedicated audience or you really have people who know we're going to come to that site and get sold. You really need to be in distribution channels that expose your product to new people. After all, the internet is fabulous if you're already exposed. People already know your name. It's just like that Beeline site. They used to have a catalog, and everybody knows who they are if you're an electrician. But on the other hand, people don't know you, don't know your product, so you really can't just rely on the internet because you just won't get enough exposure. Again, I mentioned crowdfunding, reward based. A lot of people, a lot of inventors are starting out this way, and a lot of inventors who used to license their product instead are going on these sites and raising money, enough money to start building their product, and they're really looking at, instead of just licensing or doing a joint venture, starting their own company because they're able to get enough money from reward based funding. Now, this really doesn't work well for all companies or all products, but it works well for a product where you can get like a 50 to 100 to maybe $200 investment and then promise something in return. And you'll get money too from people who just think it's a good idea that you're in the business, but take a look at these sites, take a look at how they work. Really, you just need a good video mostly to get on there, and just take a look at how you can get your product out in crowdfunding. Don't overlook this because there's been quite a few companies who have not, when the inventors really didn't have enough money to get going, but they just did a reward-based crowdfunding program and got their company under. The next question you're really looking for is who will represent you. So you've kind of come up with your overall strategy. You've come up with somewhat of your sales strategy. You've come up, what you're going to do on the internet. And now, when you're going out and going into the marketplace, who's going to represent you? In-house sales. Now, in-house sales is basically direct sales. Now, if you're hiring your own salespeople, they probably don't have all the connections that an independent rep has. But if you create the market demand that people are looking for to find your product, you can go with just in-house sales or direct sales. And that in-house sales, I should say, is a direct sale, but it's also people who just work out of your office. So like, for instance, if you're in the Suites catalog and people are calling you up because they want specifications and information about your product, and they don't go out, that's in-house sales, but it's a direct sales. But then there's also the direct sales force that actually goes in the field, calls on people, and makes calls, but the sales costs are very high. So you have to look at, it's going to cost you $200 to $300 for every sales call. So you really have to have customers who can buy a lot of product to justify that cost. Another thing people do is they use independent sales reps, and the independent sales reps will cover a small territory or a manageable territory. They'll cover all their expenses, and usually they have a ready-made clientele. They have companies they're selling other products to. They may sell 8 to 10 products, and by having a complete product line, that really helps them represent, be a better service to the retailer and really promote his products and your product and help the retailer really do a better job. You can sell through other companies, which is a fabulous process. If you can find companies who are serving your same target market, have a similar product strategy, and they have complementary products where your product and their products together makes a more complete package that's of more use to the end user. Again, you might coordinate your efforts with distributors who have an integrated line, and you're looking for integrators who actually provide full service to the end user and full solutions. You're not looking for, at this time, distributors who mostly are just taking care of cutting freight costs by taking large shipments in and breaking them down into less than truckload shipments. You want to rely on distributors to serve your target customer group, and you have a specialized sales force. You have a new product. If your product needs some kind of promotion or some kind of explanation or people using it, you've got to rely and set up yourself with a sales force that can deliver that type of support. Another consideration you have is in your plan, your sales strategy, your marketing plan is how are you going to train these representatives? Now, an untrained representative usually, first of all, the reps don't really like being untrained. They want to know their product. They want to know how to sell it. It's very important to look professional. So you've got to consider, how do I train these people so they're happier and also you're happier because they're going to do a better job for you. You might have major events. You might do training through a few direct salespeople. You might do a webinar. You might have newsletters, videos, or manuals. You might control with shows. It's very common for at a big trade show that you set aside maybe a 2-hour period or an evening where you'll provide training for the reps that are there. The reps, might be working your booth, but they might be working other booths. But if you have that training, it's really usually fairly good to do it with the shows if you can keep your training to like an hour, maybe an hour and a half. If you're going to need 3 or 4 hours for training, then you have to have a major training event. And don't overlook training, whatever you do. I mean, the reps, when they go out on a call, and if they feel they don't really look professional, if they feel they just don't have the information the customers want, they're just not going to promote your product. You've got to make that rep, whether it's a direct sales rep, an independent rep, another company, I don't care what they are. If they don't feel comfortable in presenting your product, they're not going to present it. So whatever you do, don't overlook training as a consideration. Now you're really looking at, this is your marketing plan. As you can see, we're really getting quite detailed. We're really, and the reason is, there's a lot of distribution channels out there. Every one of them needs a little bit of a different approach. Every one of them in industries works differently. So you just can't afford to go out in the marketplace and say, hey, here's my product. Everybody come and buy it. That strategy just doesn't work. I mean, if you have a product and you've tried it, you've probably already experienced this. You really got to focus in on what you're trying to do and focus in on how to get your product into the marketplace in a meaningful way. So one of the things you're going to look at now is the types of stores you're going to sell at, or just the type of distribution channel or approach you're going to take if you're really not sold through a retail store. But take a look at hardware stores. Let's take a look at all our options, and there's many options. And these options might be different in every market, but there's always options. So we have independent hardware stores. These are just your smaller independents. Maybe they have 1 or 2 hardwares. They might be related to like a chain in a loose way, but they'll have their name on it first. Then you have specialty hardware stores. For instance, you have a plumbing store. You have stores that for electricians. You have stores, for different kitchen stores or kitchen plumbing, or you have kitchen, faucets and things like that. They could all be in specialty stores. Small chains, these are chains, maybe they have 10 to 15 stores. They might be located in a small regional area, or they might be in a broader area. You have regional stores, which again are a little bigger than a small chain, but they might have 40 stores. Then you have the big national chains. This would be Lowe's and Home Depot chains like that. And then you have mass merchandisers, which is like Targets or Walmart, who also would sell hardware products, or Sears, hardware suppliers. And these are all different stores. They all call for different options. They all call for different resources on your part. So you want to say who you're really going to go for. So now as we're moving down our marketing plan, we've chosen the stores. Now you're going to say how to motivate the customer at the purchase point. Remember, the store, you might get the store to take you in, but if your product doesn't sell through that store, they're going to drop you. You've got to have a pull-through where the end users come up to your product and buy it. And you, as you're starting out, because you're new and you're not well known, you don't have a brand, and people aren't really looking to see, looking for your product necessarily because they've never heard of it. You've got to work extra hard here to motivate the customer at the purchase point. Now, part of this is in the packaging. Packaging really has to be outstanding. We have a packaging fellow on the One Stipe, Josh Wallace, that you can take a look at, but otherwise you can also take a look at your resources on the internet, the freelance networks. There's like 5 or 6 freelance sites, all with people who will do packaging design. And you also have companies in your market area who will do packaging design, who maybe are more experienced, but also probably more expensive. But take your time to really come up with a packaging that really attracts people's attention, really gets them to take a look at your product, and really makes things happen for you. You need in-store displays. Maybe you'll want an in-store display. You might have sampling, or you might have demonstrations or classes at the stores. A lot of times you'll have a display sample that people can look at, or you might have different promotions. And you have to work with the reps. So like your independent stores are a lot more flexible in what you can put up there. And that's one reason I like those independents to get started, because you can use a lot more resources to get the product selling and getting them to get the buy-through that you can use to get the bigger stores. The bigger stores aren't really as flexible about what kind of on-site promotional materials you give, but you can still have your great package, and but still make sure that you really explore these with the buyer at whoever you're dealing with, or the rep group you're using, or your industry contacts in the network, that you really have a good plan for how to motivate the customer at the purchase point. Now, again, smaller channels don't. Everybody is, wants to go big time. They want to be in Home Depot. They want to be in the big stores. They want to make money as fast as possible. But all those chains, all those big stores, they're all looking for momentum, market momentum for you. They're all looking that you've been successful somewhere. They're all looking to see just, how dependable you are in the marketplace. Can you really make a dependable product time after time? What can you really do? And so a lot of times you want to keep these smaller channels in line, because these smaller channels gives you that market momentum that really helps people take on your product later. Plus, it gives you a lot of assistance in allowing you to use a lot of your promotional efforts really directed at the end user. And it also gives you feedback about your product that you can kind of control and make adjustments for. If you go with Lowe's and you have some major problems, or you have some adjustments you need to make, even minor adjustments, you might find yourself out of Lowe's, and all of a sudden you're not going to have a good, easy time getting back in. You can correct all the things and go back, but usually they won't, repeat, give you another chance. But the smaller retailers will, and the smaller channels will also let you kind of give the support your product needs to get going. So you have catalogs, fundraising. I mean, you can sell products to end user groups if they have end user groups, and let them sell it to their end users, let them brand it. I mean, and it's a way for them to make money, and they'll promote this then in their newsletters, or promote it in their catalogs. Maybe they'll promote it at the events, and then you're getting brand name recognition that will pay off for you down the road. Home shopping networks, again, they may only carry you for a year or two, but that momentum to show that end users will buy your product, that's important. You can go direct TV or infomercials now. If you're interested in that route, there's a magazine called Response. It's a TV advertising. They have a big show every year in Las Vegas, and if you're going to go with direct TV response, you want to really get a marketing company who's going to kind of help fund the promotion, and maybe they'll license the product for you, or they'll buy it from you at a low price. But it again creates brand recognition, and if you put on your package as seen on TV, that's a big sales aid. You might go, ads in specialty magazines to get a direct response. Usually the ads direct you to a website, so you can get people into your network. You can keep sending information out to people. Product directories, again, everyone should be in product directories. as many as you can. Often you can really do it for a very low cost. And then, just articles. This is one of the things that I do to get people. I just post a lot of articles on the internet. I post articles sometimes in magazines. I wrote articles for Entrepreneur magazine for about 7 years about inventors. And, putting out your articles gets people to come to your website also. It's a smaller channel. You're not going to make a killing on this. But, again, it generates interest in you. It generates a response, and it gets people to start realizing you're in business so that you can maybe do more and more business. You also need a promotional strategy. Basically, everyone's looking, for promotions. If you look at mattress stores, it's like they never stop promoting. They have a promotion day and night, and the distribution channel looks for promotions, end users look for promotions. Everyone's looking for how you're promoting your product and getting it out there. And so you might have coupons on the internet. You might do co-op advertising through stores. You might have other promotional programs you run with smaller manufacturers of complementary products. You're getting your name out. You're getting your product out. You're getting it in front of people. Might run contests. You might, have events, especially events tied with trade shows or association meetings. If your product group or the type of market you're in has an state association meeting, that's a great place to run events because they like to have events that bring in more people to their meetings. You can be doing speeches, you can giving demonstrations. All of these are things you can do to promote your product. I know my sister-in-law has a kitchen store, Cedar Falls, Iowa, and she has people come in and make demonstrations all the time with their products. It brings people to her store, which she likes. It helps the inventor, which is good, and it helps the store sell more of the inventor's products. Of course, all of these things I've talked about a little bit before, special pricing for short periods and co-op advertising. But, really cross-promotions is always one of my favorite for inventors starting out, and that is finding other small companies, especially inventor-related small companies with complementary products, and you post a promotion for their product on your site or with your sales materials, and they do the same for you. And so you're both out there selling your product and helping promote the other product. And so you're trading your promotional skills with the other company's skills, and you're both just magnifying your efforts for really not too much money. So when you get all done, you have a document to follow. This is what I like to call a marketing plan, and I hope you really want a pretty good marketing plan. Again, I can't stress enough, don't be afraid to send us email questions if you have them. We're happy to help you, and we even can help you write the whole plan if you're really nervous about it. For most plans, we do it for about $750, so it's a great service for the inventors because we want your product out there successful. Don't just throw your product out in the market and hope everything happens for you. Don't think everyone's going to take a look at this product and say, wow, I can't believe how great this is. I really want to start buying it. You need a whole chart, how you're going to go to market, what your internet strategy is, what your representative strategy is, your distributor focus, your store and user focus and description, your specialty outlet strategy, and your promotional strategy. You want all these things laid out. Now, if you go the step further in the marketing plan, then you're also going to be laying out a timetable and action list and all of these things to do. But I think the first thing is just to get your head around having the right strategy in place so you know where you're going and what you're trying to do. You may need to make changes later on if you've run into resistance in one of these areas. But the fact is you need a plan. You need a focus. You need to know how to get your product out there. You need to know how you have a consistent sales presentation. And the sales presentation, one of the things this document does, or this whole process does, it takes you out of going out and talking about your product. My product is this, my product is that, I'm great, look at all these features, hey, what do you say, buy it. Instead, it gets you focused on what the customer wants, what the customer needs, what the customer is looking to do. So now when you're going out, instead of just all on my product, you're talking about this is how our product fits into your program. This is what our product does for you in the marketplace. This is what our product does to help you expand your sales. When you can change your sales pitch from all about product oriented to all about helping the whoever you're selling the product to hit their goals, that's when you're going to start to have a sales strategy and a marketing strategy that really will help you pump up your sales.